My dad threatened to disown me over babysitting, then family secrets exploded. Hey everyone, I'm Sophia, 28, and my family life has been a roller coaster lately. When I was 10, my parents divorced, and it was rough. My mom moved out, and I lived with my dad for years. It was just us, and I thought we told each other everything. But as I got older, I realized my dad kept a lot from me. When I was 15, my dad introduced me to Linda, 50. They'd been dating secretly, and I was hurt he hid it. Still, I tried to be supportive. A few months later, they married, and Linda moved in with her daughter, Emma, 25. The shift was hard. I went from an only child to having a stepsister. Emma and I never clicked. She was outgoing, I was reserved. We were polite but never close. At 18, I moved out for college, relieved for some space. I focused on school and made new friends. After graduating, I got a job in the same city and stayed. I'd visit my dad and Linda on holidays, but that was about it. Emma and I barely spoke. It's just birthday texts and family dinners when I was in town. The babysitting trap fast forward to today. Emma recently moved to my city with her 27-year-old husband, Jake, and their 2 kids, Liam, 4M, and Ava, 2F. Jake got a new tech job, and Emma's a stay-at-home mom. When they first arrived, my dad asked me to help them settle in. I wasn't thrilled, but I agreed. I showed them around, helped them find a neighborhood, and even assisted with their move. I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong about it. Week later, Emma started showing up at my apartment every evening with her kids, asking me to watch them for an hour or two while she ran errands. I said yes at first, wanting to be nice, but it became a daily thing. I'm a freelance graphic designer working from home, and while I'm usually done by the time she drops them off, my evenings are my alone time. I use that time to relax, work, on personal projects, or see friends. The kids are fine, but I'm just not a kid person. I don't know how to entertain them, and being around them makes me anxious. I told Emma several times she needed to hire a babysitter, but she always had an excuse. It's just for today, or I'm still getting used to the city. I started to suspect she was taking advantage of me last Friday. I had plans with friends to celebrate my best friend's promotion. I'd been looking forward to it all week. That morning, I told Emma I couldn't watch the kids that evening. She said, okay, and I thought that was that. But at 6 p.m., just as I was leaving, Emma showed up at my door with Liam and Ava. Before I could say a word, she handed me the kids and drove off. I tried calling her, no answer. I even called Jake, but he didn't pick up. I had to cancel my plans and stay home with the kids. I was furious. Emma had messed up my plans before, but this was the first time she completely ignored my refusal to babysit. I was stuck with the kids until 9 p.m. when Emma finally came to get them. When she arrived, I confronted her. She pretended it was no big deal and claimed she had an emergency. When I pushed for details, she was vague and evasive. I warned her this couldn't happen again, and she needed to find a proper babysitter. Emma got angry, saying I was selfish and that families should help each other. That's when I lost it. I told her we weren't really family, explaining that just because our parents married didn't mean we had to be close. I pointed out we'd barely spoken for years before she moved here, and now she was acting like we were best friends. I told her I was done babysitting and not to bring the kids over again unless invited. Emma left in tears. I felt awful, but also relieved I'd finally set a clear boundary. The fallout and shocking revelations, I thought that was the end of it. But I was wrong. The next day, my dad called, furious. Emma had called him crying, accusing me of being mean to her and the kids. My dad told me I needed to apologize and keep babysitting Emma, saying this is what families do for each other. I tried to explain my side. Emma taking advantage of me, ruining my plans, and disrespecting my time and boundaries. But my dad wasn't listening. He kept insisting I be more understanding and helpful. Then he said something that crushed me. He called me selfish and said he was disappointed in the person I'd become. He told me Linda and Emma were my family now, and I needed to accept it. He even hinted I was still holding a grudge since he married Linda, mentioning how distant I was stunned. I told him they were his family, not mine, and I was an adult capable of making my own choices. I had my own life and responsibilities, and couldn't just drop everything to be Emma's on-call babysitter. This led to a huge argument. My dad threatened to cut me off financially if I didn't apologize to Emma and resume babysitting. I was hurt and enraged. I told him I was self-sufficient and didn't need his money. I also suggested that if he'd cut me off over this, maybe we weren't as close as I thought. My dad hung up on me. Linda and other family members have since messaged me, accusing me of being unfair. They say I should be more empathetic to Emma's situation as a young mom in a new city. Some aunts even called, saying I'm tearing the family apart. Emma hasn't contacted me directly, but she's been posting passive-aggressive messages on social media about how families should always be there for one another, tweeting quotes about the value of sisters and how blood doesn't determine family. It feels like she's trying to publicly guilt-trip me. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Am I really in the wrong here? I don't think it's fair for Emma to expect me to be a free babysitter whenever she wants. And I don't think my dad should threaten me about it. But I'm starting to wonder if I went too far by saying Emma and Linda aren't my real family. Part of me feels guilty. Maybe I could have been more patient with Emma. Maybe I should have tried harder to connect with her when we were younger. But another part of me is angry and resentful. I feel my thoughts and boundaries aren't being respected. After my parents divorced, I learned to rely on myself. I worked hard in school, got a scholarship, and built a successful career. I'm not used to people relying on me this way, and I'm not sure I want that responsibility at the same time. I can't stop thinking about Liam and Ava. They're innocent in all this, and I genuinely care about them. I don't want the kids to feel rejected, but I also don't think it's good for them to have an aunt who resents babysitting them. I tried talking to some friends, but they're divided. Some think I'm being too harsh and should try to work things out with Emma. Others agree I'm right to set boundaries and Emma is being entitled. I don't know what to do. Should I apologize? Should I stand my ground? This whole thing has spiraled out of control, and I'm not sure how to fix it. I don't want to lose my relationship with my father, but I also don't want to be taken advantage of. This situation has made me question a lot about my family and myself. Am I really as selfish as my dad claims? Have I been harboring bitterness about his remarriage without realizing it? Should I have worked harder to build a relationship with Emma over the years? I keep thinking about how things might have been different if my mom were still around. She moved across the country after the divorce, and we don't talk much. I wonder what she'd say about all this. I'm at a loss. I feel like no matter what I do, someone will be upset with me. I want to do the right thing, but I don't know what that is. It anymore? Update 1. A glimmer of hope and a secret uncovered. It's been almost 2 weeks since my last post. Things have only gotten more complicated. Thanks to everyone who commented and offered suggestions. It helped me see things more clearly. Reading your feedback, I decided to stand my ground. I didn't apologize to Emma or resume babysitting. This created some real tension. My dad stopped talking to me completely, and Emma kept posting passive-aggressive messages on social media about fake family members and the importance of being there for your nieces and nephews. The silence from my dad was especially tough. We used to talk at least once a week, and now, nothing. I tried to tell myself it was for the best, that I was setting healthy boundaries. But it still hurt. My stepmom, Linda, tried to mediate. She called me several times, trying to get me to make up with Emma and my dad. She said she understood my perspective, but that family means compromise. I appreciated her effort, but I still felt like everyone was dismissing my feelings. Myself in work, taking on extra freelance projects to distract myself from the family drama. I also started going to the gym more often and picked up a new hobby, painting. It was soothing to create something beautiful amidst the chaos, however. Something unexpected happened last week that changed everything. I was at a neighborhood coffee shop, working on a project, when I overheard a familiar voice. It was Jake, Emma's husband. He was sitting at a table with a woman I didn't recognize. At first I assumed it was a work colleague, but then I saw Jake reach across the table and take the woman's hand. They spoke in hushed tones, looking at each other in a way that suggested this wasn't just a friendly meeting. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Jake was supposed to be at work, not having what looked like a romantic encounter with another woman. I sat there, frozen, unsure what to do. Should I confront him? Should I snap a photo as proof? In the end, I did neither. I quietly gathered my things and left the coffee shop. I went home, my mind racing. I didn't confront Jake. I wasn't sure if I should tell Emma. Our relationship was already fragile, and accusing her husband of cheating might only make things worse. I decided to sit with the information for a day and think about what to do. Update 2. A confession, a revelation, and a deeper secret the next evening. Emma called me. I almost didn't answer, assuming it was another attempt to guilt me into babysitting, but something made me pick up. Emma was in tears and asked if she could come over. I agreed, thinking she might have found out about Jake. When she arrived, she was a complete mess. Her eyes were red and puffy, and she looked like she hadn't slept in days. But it wasn't about Jake at all, Emma confessed. She had lied about running errands when she left the kids with me. She admitted she'd been seeing a therapist for postpartum depression and anxiety. Emma broke down telling me her story. She'd been struggling since Ava's birth, feeling overwhelmed and inadequate as a mother. She hadn't told anyone in the family because she felt ashamed and scared of being judged. She had been leaving the kids with me during her therapy appointments. I was stunned. I felt a mix of emotions: pity for Emma's situation, anger that she had deceived and taken advantage of me, and regret for how harshly I had judged her. I told Emma that while I understood she was going through a tough time, it was unacceptable. For her to lie and dump her children on me without notice? We talked for hours. Emma apologized for her behavior and for not being open about her struggles. She promised to hire a proper babysitter for her sessions. I told her that while I couldn't be a regular babysitter, I'd be happy to help out occasionally. If she gave me advance notice, as we talked, I started to see Emma in a new light. I realized that despite her seemingly perfect life, she struggled just like anyone else. It made me reflect on how little I understood about her life and how quickly I had judged her. Emma also shared her feelings of loneliness after moving to the city. She said she was excited to be closer to me, believing we could finally have the sisterly bond we never had. She said she had pushed too hard and too fast, and she apologized for not respecting my boundaries. I also shared my own feelings. I told her how I felt left out after Dad remarried and how I struggled to fit into our new family dynamic. We talked about our childhoods, sharing memories and perspectives we'd never discussed before. Just as we were starting to mend our relationship, I was faced with the decision of whether to tell Emma about what I saw with Jake. I debated it, but in the end, I chose to be honest with her. I gently told her what I had witnessed at the coffee shop. Emma's reaction wasn't what I expected. Didn't seem surprised or outraged. Instead, she became very quiet before saying, "I know about Jake's meetings." It turns out the woman Jake was meeting is his half-sister. Jake was adopted as a baby and had recently discovered his biological family. He'd been meeting with his half-sister in secret because he wasn't ready to tell Emma or the rest of the family. He was worried about how it might affect their family relationships, especially with his adoptive parents. I was relieved Jake wasn't cheating, but I was also frustrated by all the secrecy in our family. I told Emma that all of this, her behavior, Jake's meetings, could have been avoided if everyone had just been honest from the start. Emma agreed and said she'd talk to Jake about being more open with the family, also promised to be more open with me in the future. We ended the evening on a brighter note than we had in weeks. The next day I called my dad. I told him about Emma's struggles and how we had worked things out. I also told him that while I was willing to have a relationship with Emma and occasionally help with the kids, my boundaries needed to be respected. To my surprise, my dad was understanding. He apologized for his reaction and admitted he had put too much pressure on me. We promised to improve our communication and respect each other's boundaries more. We also talked about the past, including how his remarriage affected me and how we had grown apart over time. It was a tough conversation, but it felt like we were finally addressing issues we had been avoiding for too long. Things have calmed down, but I still feel like I'm walking on eggshells. There are so many secrets and unspoken concerns in our family. I'm glad Emma and I were able to sort things out, but I have a feeling there will be more drama. I'm trying to stay positive, but I'm also bracing myself for what might happen next. This entire experience has made me realize how little I knew about my family members. It's made me wonder what other mysteries lie beneath the surface. For the time being, I'm working on slowly rebuilding my connections with Emma and my dad. It's not easy, and there are still moments of tension, but it seems like we're heading in the right direction. I'm learning that family relationships are complex, and communication and honesty are vital. I'm also trying to find a balance between being there for my family and maintaining my own boundaries. It's a work in progress. But I'm hopeful that we can be family without compromising our individual needs and identities. Update 3. The truth unravels and healing begins. It's been about a month since my last update, and I wish I could say things have gotten better, but they haven't. In fact, they've gotten a lot worse. Remember how I felt like more drama was about to unfold? Well, I was right, but I couldn't have predicted what happened next. Emma called me last week, frantic. She was in tears and barely coherent. When I calmed her down, she told me she had received some devastating news. Jake hasn't just been meeting his half-sister. He's been having an affair with her. Emma grew suspicious of Jake's frequent meetings and decided to follow him one day. She saw him meeting the woman at a hotel, not the usual coffee shop. She confronted him, and he confessed to the affair. He tried to excuse it by claiming he felt a connection with his half-sister that he'd never had before, but Emma was understandably horrified and devastated. I was shocked. I felt terrible for not pushing harder when I first saw Jake with the woman. I tried to comfort Emma as best I could over the phone, but she was distraught. She said she was leaving Jake and asked if she and the kids could stay with me for a bit. Despite our past disagreements, I couldn't turn her away in her time of need. I agreed to let them stay. Emma and the kids moved in with me the next day. It's been a tough adjustment. My apartment isn't really set up for 2 young children, and Emma is still incredibly emotional. She alternates between tears and angry outbursts. I'm trying to be supportive, but it's taking its toll on me. To make matters worse, Jake has been harassing Emma with constant phone calls and messages. He's even shown up at my apartment several times, causing a scene in the hallway. I had to threaten to call the police to get him to leave. It's been incredibly stressful for everyone, especially the children who don't understand what's going on. Another bombshell dropped in the midst of the chaos. My dad called me, sounding anxious, said he needed to tell me something important and asked if he could come over. When he arrived, he dropped a bombshell that shook me to my core. It turns out Jake's half-sister is also my half-sister. My dad admitted to having a brief relationship with Jake's biological mother years ago, before he met my stepmom. This woman gave birth to a daughter, who's the same woman Jake has been having an affair with. I was stunned. Couldn't believe what I was hearing. My dad had kept this secret for nearly 30 years, said he only found out recently when Jake's half-sister took a DNA test, and it matched some of our family members. My dad then got in touch with her and learned the truth. I felt like my entire world was crumbling. Everything I thought I knew about my family was a lie. I was angry with my dad for keeping this secret, at Jake for betraying Emma, and at myself for not seeing any of this coming. I haven't told Emma about this new revelation yet. She's already dealing with so much, and I'm worried this might push her over the edge. But I know I'm going to have to tell her someday. The past few days have been a blur. I've been trying to keep things normal for the kids while simultaneously supporting Emma and processing my own feelings about this new sister. I've taken some time off work to deal with everything, but I'm not sure how long I can keep this up. I'm at a loss for what to do next. My apartment has become a refuge for my sister and her children, a safe haven from her cheating husband, and now it feels like the epicenter of a decades-long family scandal. I'm trying to keep everything together, but I feel like I'm drowning in secrets and lies. I'm not sure how our family will ever heal from this. The trust has been shattered, and I'm not sure it can be repaired. I'm thinking about going to therapy to deal with all of this, but for the time being, I'm just taking it day by day. I've tried to reach out to some friends for help, but it's hard to explain the situation without sounding like I'm making it up. How do you tell someone that your brother-in-law is having an affair with your secret half-sister? It sounds like something out of a terrible soap opera. I'm also concerned about the long-term implications of all this. What will happen to Emma and the children? Will Jake seek custody? And what about my half-sister? Should I try to connect with her? Do I really want to know her, given the circumstances? It's also worth considering how this will affect my relationship with my father. I'm upset that he kept this secret for so long, but I understand he was probably scared and ashamed. Even so, knowing what he did makes it hard to look at him the same way. For the time being, a primary focus is on Emma and the children. Despite the volatility, I'm trying to provide a stable environment for them. It's not easy, but it feels like the right thing to do. I'm also trying to take care of myself. I've started journaling to help me process my emotions, and I'm making an effort to do something I enjoy every day, even if it's as simple as reading a book or going for a walk. I know I'll have to make some big decisions soon about Emma's situation, my connection with my father, and whether or not to contact my half-sister. But for now, I'm just trying to get through each day. If anyone has been through something similar and has any suggestions, I'd be grateful. This entire scenario is overwhelming. I could use all the help I can get. Update 4. Moving forward, forgiveness and self-discovery. It's been 3 months since my last update, and a lot has changed. After the initial shock subsided, we had to deal with the aftermath. I eventually told Emma that Jake's affair partner is our half-sister. She was devastated all over again, but it also gave her the closure she needed. She filed for divorce and got a restraining order against Jake. The legal process has been messy, but Emma is holding strong. Emma and her kids stayed with me for about a month before she found a small apartment of her own. She started working part-time at a local bookstore and is slowly rebuilding her life. This experience has actually brought us closer. I occasionally help her with the kids, but only on my terms, and she respects my boundaries. We haven't contacted our newly discovered half-sister. We're not ready for it yet, and I'm not sure we ever will be. The circumstances of her existence, as well as her actions with Jake, make it difficult to consider having a relationship with her. My relationship with my father has been strained. I was deeply upset with him for hiding such a significant secret. For so long, we've had several long, painful discussions about trust, honesty, and the consequences of his decisions. He's been seeing a therapist to deal with his shame and learn how to regain trust with his family. It's a slow process, but we're making progress. I've also started seeing a therapist to deal with all my internal issues. It's helped me work through my feelings and set healthy boundaries. I'm learning that it's okay to prioritize my own mental health and well-being, even when family members are in crisis. One unexpected outcome of all this is that I've reconnected with my mother. After everything came out, I reached out to her because I needed someone to talk to who wasn't personally involved in the situation. We've had some wonderful conversations, and she's been a source of comfort throughout this. We're working to restore our relationship, and it's been great to have her back in my life. I've also made significant changes in my own life. I decided to take a sabbatical and travel. I needed to get away from the family drama and rediscover myself. I'm writing this post from a small cafe in Europe where I've spent the last month. This distance has helped me gain perspective. I've come to realize that while family is important, it's not everything. People who truly care about you will respect your boundaries and won't pressure you to sacrifice your values or well-being. Don't know what the future holds for my family? The lost trust will take a long time to heal, if at all. But right now, I'm focusing on myself, healing, and growing. I'm learning to define family on my own terms and surround myself with people who bring joy into my life. Emma and I talk regularly. She's doing better now, focused on her children and her new career. The divorce proceedings are ongoing, but she's handling them with a strength I didn't know she possessed. We're planning a trip with the kids next summer, something to look forward to. Jake, as far as I know, has left the city. His affair with our half-sister ended badly, and he's been trying to reconcile with his adoptive family. I don't know all the specifics, and honestly, I want to. My father and I are gradually rebuilding our relationship. We talk once a week, and while things haven't returned to normal, they're improving. He's trying to be more open and honest. Not just with me, but with everyone in the family. This entire experience has taught me a great deal about resilience, forgiveness, and the importance of honesty. It has also taught me that it's never too late to set boundaries and prioritize your own well-being. Thank you to everyone who has followed my story and offered advice along the way. Your support has meant more than you realize. If there's one thing I've taken away from this, It's that life can surprise you in unexpected ways. All we can do is strive to approach each day with honesty, courage, and self-respect. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so, and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.